Previously on Master Rogue.
Curiosity piqued, you pose another question to the strange rogue, seeking further insight into the enigmatic stone bastion. Dost thou know aught of this place, save for its rumored existence? The stranger's eyes sluggishly drag from your eyes back onto his canvas. Nay, good traveler, I know but little of this place, save that it hath remained elusive to many who sought it. 'Tis a fascinating sight, one that hath inspired me to capture its essence upon mine canvas. As you cast your gaze upon his painting, you find yourself captivated by the stranger's mastery of the medium. The foreboding atmosphere of the stone bastion is rendered with such skill that you can almost feel the chill in the air. Yet, as your eyes wander, you are taken aback by the sight of the lifeless body, meticulously reproduced in the scene. The stranger's morbid fascination with the tragic event is laid bare for all to see, a testament to their dark and melancholy nature.
Why do you prefer to have dead bodies in your art, sir? Abuse. Normal.
Intrigued by the artist's morbid fascination, you pose a question to uncover the reason behind their choice of subject matter. Why dost thou prefer to paint scenes of death and sorrow, such as the unfortunate soul before us? Is it amusing? You ask judgmentally. The strange artist replies, in this untraveled abyss, where scant is known and vast secrets yet remain to be unveiled, I deem it a meritorious endeavor to plumb the depths of the unknown, to revel in the morbid and the dull, and contest the boundaries of convention. To depict the aberrant, to warp the very core of what one deems as customary, is to rouse a reaction, a reconsideration of the realm in which we reside, steeped in shadows and somberness. To paint that which doth challenge the mundane and the ordinary, I seek to awaken within thee, dear observer, a newfound understanding of the master plane and its dark corners that lie hidden from thine eyes. As the artist shares their artistic motivations, you begin to understand the intention behind the macabre scene depicted on their canvas. The artist seeks not only to capture the bleak reality that surrounds them, but also to provoke thought and reflection in those who view their work, challenging the very notion of what is considered normal within this mysterious and unexplored expanse. In between the tavern's lawn and the vast emptiness of the master plane, you stand on the edge of a hill, gazing into the obscured abyssal canvas between you and the moonlit bastion looming in the distance. A scar on the soil, wrapped in moonlight, a curse on everyone that contributed to its existence. Its silent presence stirred a deep unease in your heart, yet your gaze was unflinching, burning with determination and a relentless thirst for knowledge. Shaped by your most recent trial, you were drawn to the sentient fortress, your curiosity piqued despite the dread it inspired. In the spectral glow of the bastion, you saw not only a dark omen, but a challenge, a riddle to be unraveled. It was time a plan take shape, but first, one should know thy enemy. Like a malignancy, the hatred-imbued living stone grows outward, growing in malice and expanding the proximity of its curse. Its existence an insatiable hunger for power and dominance that threaten to infest the region with life-siphoning monstrosities. The entity's revelation painted a bleak picture, a vision of inevitable doom inching closer with each passing moment. It was a cancer, ceaseless and cruel, promising nothing but death and despair. The living stone was not just a symbol of their past mistakes, but an ever-present threat, a reminder of the dire consequences should they fail to halt its inexorable march.
There's 2 days left before the approach of the hatred-imbued living stone. It's been slowly inching closer and closer to us. Its minions leading the way. Maven believes that it could take 2 more days before that thing gets here. We see it getting closer and closer. We've learned as much as we could about it, but there is more to learn. And by learn, I mean also prepare. Rydak doesn't feel we're ready, but I convinced Rydak to stay and help us. If we learn a little bit more about it. There's a possibility that if he feels that what we know is not sufficient, Rydak could leave. But I don't want to leave. This is our refuge for now. It's just as dangerous out there as it is here. All right, let's see what's in store for today. 2 more days left. Let's recap real quick for those who are new. I have several event types that happen on each day, and they pretty much define how that day goes. Days, job propositions are sort of like a notice board that's up in Genevieve's Tavern. Job propositions are opportunities for discovering other locations in the world. These are requests that people have put out. A proposition, hey, I've noticed something over here. Maybe take a look. Or hey, I'm dealing with this person. Can you take care of this person? So on and so forth. It's a proposition from a stranger. Campfire is an opportunity to bond with everyone. We all sit around and we exchange stories, we exchange loot, and we talk. And there's some other things there. Study and research is where we take time to study and research something that's on the threads list. The current topics to learn more about it and dig deeper into those threads by way of knowledge. Social is a way to bond with allies, and each social event will come with its own type of, we would roll as to what kind of event is happening that is a social event. Occupation is we all have our own roles and ways that we contribute to the world and strive for ourselves. Occupation is an event dedicated to that. Dire situation is a sudden interrupt, immediately, suddenly event that can be happening it's happening where I am currently. In fact, it puts me right in that situation. Either we're cutting right to, it's like in the middle of it, it's happening, or it's suddenly happening. Honing skills is an opportunity to exercise one of my abilities. Let's see what's in store for us today. 6. Dire situation. I'm only asking because of the context of our circumstances, but is the tower here sooner than we expected? I mean, Maven called it, right? So probably not. Probably not. Probably not, right? I'm gonna say unlikely. Anything under 35 is a yes. No. Are we so the tower's not here, right? Is it an invasion of some living stone scouting ahead? 50-50. That's an exceptional yes. We're under attack. Let me roll the event type and see what exactly is going on. I'm going to roll adventure tone first. Twice on adventure tone. $89.53. $89.53. Social. Interesting. They're trying to communicate with us. Random event focus table. $18. A new NPC. We're going to say this is one of the living stone. It's a little bit different than the other ones, we'll say. We'll say that this is a new living stone entity that's a bit different than the other ones. It's the one that's probably trying to communicate with us as the new NPC. All right, let me get an action and a meaning. 72. Praise. 51. Legal. Praise. Legal. Meaning 1 and 2. 54, 46. 54. Intensely. Heavy. Intensely. Heavy. All right. So this is a dire situation, which is a scenario that is handled as a sudden random generated remote event taking place that puts me in immediate danger, requiring a reaction and usage of my skills and circumstances to work my way out of it. This involves a new NPC. The tone is social and interesting. Praise, legal, intensely heavy is the action and meaning. I'm going to interpret this as we are attacked in a different sort of way. A living stone creature that's a bit different than the other ones manages to catch me in a conversation. Maybe it comes to the front door, or while I am guarding, watching guard, on watch. And these are psychic creatures. When I see praise legal, it's telling me that it's talking about the legality of the laws of the realm and how much praise. It's praising the master plane, and it likes the master plane, and it talks about how it's looking forward to taking over and being here and calling this its new home, how they do. And intensely heavy is because this is it involves its willpower in psychic shenanigans that are intense, and it's a dire situation. It's probably going to try to harm me by way of psychic power, or convince me, or control me. Is what I am attacked by a psychic creature, and it starts off by way of a conversation. Are there more of them? I don't know. All I know is that this involves a new NPC. What is different about this? We know that the current Livingstone are very bestial. They're fiends. They look like they have glowing eyes. They have psychic abilities. They're made of stone. They have wings and have skeletal demonic facial features. But what is different about this one that makes it so much more? Obviously, it's more sophisticated. Is there anything else different? What is so different about this one? Let me get some meaning. I'm going to roll on the creature table and get some more, get another description. We're going to roll twice to get a description. We want that this is a new species of Livingstone, okay? And we want the variation to be very subtle. It's sophisticated. That's one. We're going to do couple more traits. Very subtle. Wings. Okay, it has more wings. Armored. This is like a high-ranking entity. And let's make it cooler. Let's take it a step farther, because remember, the abomination is a culmination of our pasts and the negative things of our pasts. Let's make it so that this entity draws from that and appears to be someone or one of the remember, in the abomination we saw all that it was. It has something from one of our pasts. Let me roll a character and see whose past is it from. It's going to be one of the characters from that it's born from, right? So that's me, Verdane, Artorias, Maven. I think it was just us four. Let me roll a d4 real quick. That's a 3. Me, Verdane, Artorias, Maven. Artorias, it makes sense. They're armored, right? So Artorian has a whole battalion that he had destroyed because they were doing bad things. It's going to be someone that resembles an entity from his troop, and it's armored. It's wearing their armor. Okay. And it has 4 wings.
A heavy presence draws near, footfalls echoing with the weight of ancient stone and malice. A more sinister variant of the living stone emerges from the shadows, setting its cold, calculating gaze upon the place the rogues hide. Unlike its brutish kin, this creature exudes a grim intelligence. Its torso sheathed in the battered, yet recognizable armor of Artorias' fallen legion brothers. The emblem of their sacred order now desecrated, scratched beyond recognition. Its face, a cruel mockery of the ghoulish visages seen before, holds not the savage snarl of its brethren, but something far more disturbing, a twisted semblance of a fallen comrade. A brother in arms of Artorias, or at least what remains of him, his face now frozen in an eternal scowl of anguish. a grotesque blend of familiarity and torment. 4 smaller, jagged stone wings protrude from its back, a mockery of grace, flapping occasionally with an eerie precision that speaks to the creature's unnatural intelligence. Every movement it makes is deliberate, almost regal in its posture, as if it still carried the pride of the legion within it, corrupted but undiminished. It approaches the structure with unnerving poise, its gaze a calculated threat. This was not a mindless beast. It was something far worse.
Is it close to me? Does it try to draw me out? What does it do? Does it approach me ballsy, like full-fledged, like comes up to me and starts talking to me? I'm gonna say unlikely. I'm gonna say unlikely that it does that. No. So I'm gonna say it, so it gets my attention. You know, I see it. I see it. It's calling me. Is this like a psychic lure? Or is it just really just trying to call me? Because if that's the case, I'm going to alert people. So is it some more of a psychic lure? I'm going to say very likely. Definitely, I'm going to say very likely. It's attempting to lure me out. Anything under 75 is a yes. Very likely. Yeah. Yeah. What is this psychic lore like? What am I experiencing? Let's get a description for this enhanced psychic talent that it has. $145. Abnormally healthy. It's such a talent. It's such a great psychic ability that I can't even tell that I'm being affected like I'm being abnormally affected. It feels very normal. It feels very regular. And it's calling me forth. What is it saying? $57.82. Intolerance. Oppose. It's very aggressive in how it's calling me forth. You know, it's pretty much saying, come to me, plainsman. Don't you dare disobey. Obey. Or else.
The command bristled with aggression, its presence clawing at your resolve. Though it did not control you, its sheer intensity left no room for ignorance. No space to pretend defiance was an option. The air around you felt heavy, every breath carrying the weight of inevitability as the entity loomed below, its eyes locked upon you like a predator waiting a faltering prey.
Now, again, this is an effect on me. Is it working on me? Is it working on me? We're going to definitely have to ask that. It's definitely challenging my, I would say, willpower and maybe even intuition. Let me see. My force law, manifestation, familiar. I'm a guard, okay? I'm protecting. I'm going to use my enforced law skill or I'm going to incorporate that into deciding if this thing affects me. Would I just leave my post? You know what I mean? So I'm going to say, does it work on me? It's a psychic ability. It's unexpected. Very likely. Am I going to move it down to a 50-50 because I don't think I would leave my post? I'm going to move it down to a somewhat likely. Let me pull up the table. Let's see what we're working with here. We'll move it to a likely. It's likely that it works. Anything under a 65. Anything under a 65. It works. So I come out to it. I walk out to it. And I see this entity, and, you know, I'm immediately preparing, because I wouldn't just walk up to this thing happy. So, you know, my hand is on my hilt. I listen to it. I obey it, and I come out. Do I see any more? They could be hiding. Do I see them? 50-50. No. I asked it, what is it? I asked it, what is it here for? What does it say? $66.51. Loving ideas. Because it is a part of, it has remnants of part of my past, I think it begins to play on that. It loves my ideas. It loves how I feel that that we should stay. It convinces us, it's trying to convince me to stay and join forces. It loves the master plane just as much as we do, and we need to grow together. And then coexist. I tell it, and I remind it that it is an abomination informed from the negative, from the ugly of our pasts. How could something so vile think to want to coexist with us, let alone me? I could never. How does it respond to that? What does it say? 4889. Helpful. Quarrelsome. They can help. But we are the ones being quarrelsome. It brings up the fact that if it wanted to harm us, it wouldn't have displaced us and returned us back home after the abomination has entered our plane. Now I'm listening. That's a good point. I then bring up the fact that it has feasted on people of this plane. How do I know that's not something? How do I know that it's not going to try to feast on us? Let alone, why should something like that can't exist? Unless it plans on not eating, we can't know. What does it say? 11:10. Bizarre. Betray. It says that it is the way they feed is and satiate themselves may seem bizarre to us plainsmen, but do not fail to realize that the entities they feed on are negative entities. It helps me remember that the entity that it captured and devoured in the prison was someone that literally just murdered and betrayed their ally. If you recall, this was discovered out front of the tower. There was a body laying there, and the artist revealed to us that that was the body of a guide who led someone there, providing a service, and then the person stabbed them in the back and then went into the tower, and that's where they perished. So it gets me to thinking, maybe it let us return home because we aren't bad people. But if that's the case, it would have devoured Maven. But maybe the bow is what's evil and not Maven, right? Maybe it's more sophisticated in its selection of its food. I'm listening. I know out of game, I know it's trying to trick me probably. I don't know if it's lying, but it's got a point. I'm trying to think of all the bad things it ever did. Wait a minute. What? Y'all stabbed me y'all tried to kill me. All right, so look, I'm liking where this is going. I'm going to say this, just as I remembered that, because you can't refute that. Y'all definitely ambushed me and Rydak and impaled me and tried to kill me. And I feel like maybe it took me so long to remember that because of the psychic haze, and as I say that, it could be too late. Is it too late? Does something happen? Very likely. No, I'm going to say sure thing. 73. Yeah. What does it do? What happens? 43:9. Free. Balance. Free. Balance. 88:25. Quarrelsomely. Dull. I am freed and balance restored to my mind from this troubling, antagonistic dullness that my brain was under this psychic grip. I'm freed from it by an outside cause. And the reason I was even able to break free from it to begin with and start to reason and realize that I'm talking to an enemy who tried to kill me, the reason it became easier, and this is suddenly happening, is because shit's going down outside of this conversation all around me. We are under attack. And my allies are beside me, fighting a push of these living stone creatures.
The telepathic grip breaks abruptly, freeing your thoughts from the oppressive haze. In its place, stark clarity rushes in, revealing the battlefield below in vivid detail. Living stone manifestations surge like an unstoppable tide. Hulking monstrosities hammer at the tower's walls, each strike sending tremors through the ancient structure. Smaller, nimble forms scale its sides, their jagged limbs tearing into the stone as they swarm upward. The sound of clashing steel and shouted commands rises from your allies stationed at the base of the tower. They've already engaged the enemy, their weapons flashing in the pale light as they hold their ground. In the distance, the sinister manifestation that once gripped your mind remains still, a dark figure of authority presiding over the battle. Its jagged wings flare subtly, its cold gaze fixed on the unfolding conflict. Though the skirmish lacks the scale of a full assault, its intent is clear: to test your strength and to weaken your resolve in preparation for the ever-approaching moonlit bastion seen looming in the distance.
And as soon as I realize this, I engage. But there's a possibility it tries to attack me first. Does it try to attack me first? Near certain. Yes. I'm going to consider this a new scene outside of this fake peaceful one-on-one that we were having. And I'm going to raise the chaos factor up by... We'll go up to 2 since it's going down. So we're on chaos factor 7 now. Let me take note of that. In between every one of my actions, I'm going to simulate a quick action scene between a randomly rolled ally, and we'll do that to pad out in between each of my actions to kind of simulate this throwdown happening. He tries to attack. He's armored. You know, what ability does this creature do? We know they can turn their arms into blades. Does it do something new? Let's find out. Does it do something new? I would say the odds 50-50. I mean, he's right in front of me. He might, still, he's different. He's upper echelon. I'm going to say somewhat likely. Somewhat likely it tries something. It exhibits a new ability. Somewhat likely. I need anything. I need anything under an 85. Anything under an 85. 11. That's an exceptional. Yes, it's doing something new. All right, what is it doing different? Oh boy. What is it doing different? Creature ability table. $95.81. Trick. Spy. I'm going to interpret this as it tries to put me back under its spell again. Put me back under. I'm a composed man, very composed. I'm all about enforcing law and protecting. And I just got a glimpse of people, my allies, fighting. Major revelation right there. I'm going to say the odds are, based off of that, are very, I'm going to say unlikely. I'm going to first say very unlikely, right? But this is a psychic attack. I would say I'm susceptible to that, like anyone would be. I don't have anything specifically that would protect me from that. So that'll bring me down to unlikely. Unlikely. It's unlikely. Anything under 35 is a yes. That's just a dire situation I'm in, right? Am I slipped back under? Unlikely. No. Oh wait, chaos factor is 7. Still a no. All right, cool. Okay. With exceptional longsword combat, I go to try to take this thing out as swift and as fast as possible. I try to sever that thing in half with my very long sword. My curved longsword. Mother... How dare you? I feel violated. I try to dispatch that thing with one fell swoop like I've done before. Do I hit it? Very likely, I would say. I would even say nearly certain. I would give my rank shift bonus just off the fact that it tried to put me under and failed. Anything under a 95, baby, let's go. Yes. Do I kill it? Likely. We'll say likely. It's armored? Yeah, likely. It's me. We'll say likely. Anything under an 85. Yeah. Hell yeah. All right, so I just rolled a double. I think I want to play by random event rules. So whenever there's a double, we'll say, usually whenever there's a double with the dice, with any dice, we'll say, a random event happens. Let's go ahead and roll random event check. First off, I sliced that man in half. All right, slice that thing in half.
The stone fiend stood motionless before you, its gaze locked onto yours as it pressed its will against your mind once more. The psychic weight surged, insidious and commanding. But you steeled yourself against the assault. You could feel the pressure falter, its grip slipping as your resolve surged like a tide breaking against the shore. Seizing the moment, you gripped your longsword tightly, the air around you alive with determination. With a roar of defiance, you unleashed a single, devastating swing. The blade cut cleanly through the creature's torso, the force of the strike splitting it in two. The fiend's form wavered, stone fragments shifting unnaturally, as if it could resist even this fatal blow. But its strength faltered, and with a deafening crash, its sundered halves collapsed into rubble at your feet. The psychic pressure vanished instantly, the air around you clear once more. As dust settled over the shattered remnants, you stood firm, your blade gleaming, a testament to the strength and skill that had shattered the fiend's will and its body.
Bastard. Random event. Okay. $44. NPC negative. Something bad happens to another NPC. I'll roll on my list of NPCs. We'll say my roster here. One. Knock. Okay. Knock. Okay, negative event, knock. What happens with knock? And we might as well use this as a segue into that event, that sequence. Knock. What happens with knock? Action meaning. $24.82. Communicate. Representative. Communicate representative. Communicate representative. Communicate representative. $97.65. Very messy. Communicate representative. Very messy. There's another one of these psychic Livingstone generals communicating with him, acting as a representative of him by controlling him. Very messy. The situation is very messy. Nock is getting ready to start unloading his arrows on us, on allies. Towart sees this and is walking toward Nock in an aggressive, hostile manner, as if maybe she doesn't fully understand what's happening, because I really am the first person to have been psychically controlled by these things, and that is a very messy situation. I am going to attempt to call out to Towart or someone to stop Towart, to warn them all that they have psychic abilities. There's also a possibility that someone else might be there as well. Now, the only other person that knows that these things are psychic, everybody should know, we told them, but as far as this magnitude of psychic power, no one knows. The only person that would know is Verdane, Maven, to have the intuition to be like, they are also capable, because why would not, you know, and this is all happening real time though. So I'm going to try to call out the Towart and explain to everyone. And then I'll also roll to see if anyone else is able to stop them and stop Towart in case I can't. So Nock begins to, looks like he's getting ready to start firing his arrows. He looks disoriented and he aims, and Towart's moving towards him. I turn around and I send my manifestation to go tell her. Yes. Is my manifestation able to immediately kind of go and whisper and tell her like, yo, no, explain everything? Is it successfully able to do that? Above average manifestation skill. I'll say the difficulty of that is above average. I'll say the difficulty of that is, that's got to be easy, right? Below average. It's a timing situation though, so we'll say below average. She should be able to do that. Above average versus below average difficulty. Anything under 80. Can it do that? Yes. Does Towart listen? I mean, somewhat likely. But then again, Tor got beef with Noct because Noct stepped in with Verdane. She might look at this as an opportunity to be on some bullshit. 50-50. Damn it! 50-50. Does Tor listen? Anything under 50 is a yes. Okay, she listens. And she goes after the one that could potentially be controlling it. All right, back to me. Do I see a lot of these things? $50-50. Like, is it like an army? Do we need to retreat? 50. Is it a lot of them? 50-50. No, it's not a lot. We can handle this. We can handle this. All right, I go to the one nearest me. I engage another one, and I go to attack it with my long sword. Am I able to get to it? Am I able to get to it before it attacks me? I'm on to my next one. We'll say somewhat likely. We'll say somewhat likely. Anything under an 85. Yeah. I go to slash at it. I go to take its head off. I'm aiming for heads, man. No, I'm going for the body. Yeah. It's probably defending with an above average defense. I don't know. They might not be great at defending. We'll give it above average. Exceptional versus above average. Exceptional versus above average. Anything under a 75. $11. That's an exceptional yes. I'm critting and I'm killing. Definitely able to hit it before it hits me. Critting. I go to dash, lunge forward, and just completely swipe its legs out from under it. Just take its legs clear off. Do I kill it? Very likely. Anything under an 85. Yeah. I go for... All right, what's going on with the other folks? Who is it this time? 5. Lystrea. What's she doing? 287. Abuse. Success. Abuse. Success. 54, 51. Intensely. Juvenile. Abuse. Success. Intensely juvenile. Abuse. Success. Intensely juvenile. Abuse and success. She's exploiting her height advantage. And intently success, juvenile, she's like giggling and laughing, she's having fun. She's having a hell of a time. Grinning, smiling, just letting off arrows. Do I think the arrows are... She's having success, so I think she's being more of a distraction. I don't know if these arrows are piercing. Maybe she's aiming for their eyes. You know, she's aiming for their eyes, right? That's how you take, that would be effective. That would be distracting and debilitating for them. Cover, you know, providing cover fire and so on and so forth. Is she getting any, is she successful, right? So who is she, let's do a little extra one here. Who's she providing cover fire for? Who's she providing cover fire for? 7. Chryslic, who we see steals information, stalking, climbing, picking locks. I'm interpreting this as, you know, we filled Chryslic on what's happening, right? He knows the goal is to learn more about them. I think he's observing, studying them, getting and gathering information, all while this Dre is providing cover fire for him. Has he been able to learn anything from this skirmish so far? Using his stalking ability, his exceptional stalking ability, he's really able to get up in there and for his observation techniques, you know, really learn, you know, get up close and learn while they're in action, you know, getting some battle information while they're in action. So with an exceptional stalking for closeness, has he been able to get any good information? I'm going to say the difficulty of that is information that we already don't know, right? So we're going to say above average. Exceptional versus above average. Anything under an 85. Yeah, he's learning, getting information while this is providing cover fire. So fighting, you know, we're overall, are we doing pretty good? All of us doing pretty good? I would say I would say very likely. $63. Yeah. Not too many of them left. Matter of fact, I'm getting ready to dispatch of the last few.
Suddenly you are approached by the artist, who joins you in the fray. The dust of the shattered fiend barely settled before he appeared. His approach was swift and uncharacteristic, his usual aloof detachment replaced by a strange urgency. His expression, though familiar, carried an edge you had never seen before. For all his eccentricities, you had always known him as a man of creation. His grasp of the arcane weaving painted dreams into reality. Yet now, standing beside you amidst the chaos, something was different. You opened your mouth to warn him. This was no place for him, his abilities better served from afar. But the words died in your throat. Beneath your feet, a sigil sprang to life, its lines and curves drawn with an artist's precision, yet pulsing with raw, unyielding power. The realization hit too late. The binding was already upon you. You tried to move, but your limbs were leaden, fixed in place by the painted rune beneath you. Around you, living stone fiends began to close in while chanting, their hulking forms radiating malice. Above them, the artist stood unmoving, his gaze cold, his brush raised as though to finish the stroke of a masterpiece. The sigil beneath your feet flared again, and from the ground a stone structure began to rise. Its jagged edges and cruel architecture were unmistakable. This was the hatred-imbued living stone, the cursed form of the once revered moonlit bastion. It was consuming you, engulfing your world in darkness and despair. The artist's voice cut through the chaos like a dagger, his words colder than the stone enveloping you. A suitable sacrifice for a new beginning. And then, everything went black. A piercing, unnatural wail ripped through the darkness, jolting you awake. The sound echoed, jagged and grating, as if tearing apart the very air itself. Your vision was slow to return, shadows swirling and shifting until faint outlines formed. A bleak, unfamiliar chamber. Your body was stiff, encased in cold, unyielding stone. You struggled, but the jagged surface of the wall seemed to meld with your flesh, holding you captive. Your breaths were shallow, labored, each one clawing at the oppressive air. As your sight sharpened, the reality of your confinement became clear. The moonlit bastion. Its once proud halls, now a tomb, lined with frozen cadavers, their forms grotesquely twisted into the stone like a macabre mural. Your gaze dropped, and there it lay, your long sword, far below, well beyond reach. Hunger gnawed at your insides, your body weakened, but alive. Confusion filled your mind. You had been certain you were dead. Had it been minutes, hours, days? The questions pounded relentlessly. Where am I? Where are my allies? Where is the artist? Your thoughts were shattered by movement, a sickly, gaseous entity slithering through the shattered windows of the bastion. Its form was amorphous, a swirling mass of smoke and malevolence. As it poured into the room, it brought with it a horde of reptilian phantoms, their translucent forms glowing faintly as they slithered and stalked among the frozen corpses. For a moment you thought it might be a cruel hallucination, but the weight of its presence was undeniable. The entity's tendrils of smoke stretched toward you, its malice palpable as it seemed to sense your consciousness. And then it moved, an instant a blur of motion, and its formless body rushed toward you. Before you could even cry out, it forced its way in, brutal and unrelenting. Tendrils of smoke plunged through your eyes, nostrils and mouth, violating every part of your senses. Darkness flooded your vision again, but this time it was different. It was alive, writhing within you. The screeching wail grew louder, not from the outside, but inside your skull, filling your mind with raw, unending torment. You were trapped, your body no longer your own. And as the bastion's chilling silence returned, the last shred of your consciousness began to fade.